Hello, friends. I was shopping and stopped at our local farmers market here. It's actually Trader Joe's, but I love this place and they get the most beautiful seasonal flowers in here. And look at this, really, I just love this beautiful little bulb in this glass. It's a hyacinth. This is the purple one. I also got a white one. And of course, as soon as I saw it, I thought to myself, I have to paint that. So that's what I'm going to play with here today. And what I'm going to use, this would be a really great flower to use if you have, this is my set, which is sold out, but I will link a Princeton filbert. We could use the filbert here, and I'll use both so you can kind of see what I do with them. And this is my 8 round, and I will also link the 8 round Princeton. If you are interested, you can, I've had a lot of you ask me about my brushes. They've been sold out since fall. If you're interested in those, you know what? Send a little message, a little tap on their shoulder at Craftimo, and who knows? We haven't talked about it, but who knows? Maybe they'll release a few more sets for you guys. Okay. The first thing I want to do is, oh, and by the way, if you watched my live, I talked about the metallics that are going to be in my box. So excited that they let me put these in my box. I requested them. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of play with those today. First, I want to, since this one's purple, I think they actually call it blue hyacinths, but it looks purple to me. Even the bulb is purple. Isn't that fun? So I'm going to go ahead and swatch out with my handy dandy little swatch maker here. You see me use all the time. And I'm going to swatch the colors. I'll link this below too. I know a lot of you guys asked me about this. It's so fun. I love this thing. Okay. So I have my metallics here, and interesting, I had already bought both of these. These are the iridescents. These are the metallics, and they're very similar, interestingly. So here I have, not this bottom row, I had swatched them all out, and they're pretty similar, but a little bit different. So let's go in, and I know those say they're blue, but they look purple to me. So this is by the way, the Paul Rubens student palette, My Lane. I know a lot of you guys have this and are loving it, and I can see why. I mean, look at those colors, guys. They are gorgeous. The only difference between their student palette, this one, which is about $22, I want to say, and their professional palette is these don't have the light fastness. But what's really cool, especially for a beginner, you don't have to mix all these colors. And if you don't want to hear about the supplies, you can just fast forward if you already know what supplies I use. But I think it's important to mention for a beginner, these are really creamy and vibrant and have all the colors, very translucent. They have a beautiful transparency, but yet can be very vibrant. And, you know, as a beginner, you don't want to have to be dealing with mixing all these colors unless that's kind of what interests you. So I'm going to play with I think this is deep violet. I love the violet red. And, you know, I always kind of add in my own colors to my flowers. The bulb, interestingly, on this little hyacinth does have a reddish red violet. But right now, as you can see, it's only the little buds. So I'm going to add that in, and then I'm going to add a few of the florals in. So here is, look at that purple. That is the My Lane Deep Purple. Isn't that gorgeous? So pretty, huh? I love their purples. So there's that. And you know, the fun thing about metallics, or if you're using iridescents, you know, I use the MABs a lot. You can mix those with your paint, and you can get this really fun iridescent type of shimmer, or you can glaze over once this is dry. So either way, keep in mind if you do, oops, that's not the one I wanted to pick up. I want more of the red violet. If you do mix with your pigments a metallic or iridescent. What I have found over the years is it won't quite flow as easily as if you were just using the pigment on your own. So when you mix it with the metallic, it tends to not flow and behave exactly like your watercolors might normally. I think the blue I'll use with these is going to be like a light blue. I really like this cobalt blue. So I think that's the one I'll go with. And let's find that one here. Let's see. So we've got light sky blue. Not sure if you can see my paints there. We've got sky blue, which is kind of a lighter version of that beautiful turkey blue. Fresh blue, which is gorgeous. It's like a turkey blue, but has a little bit more, I think, warmth in it. And then we've got our cobalt blue. So I think that's the one I will use. Let's just swatch that out and see what we got here. Yeah, I like that. So I'll just put on my swatch. That is the cobalt blue rinse. And I've also got here my wash and my rinse water. Make sure you have that. Really, really important with watercolors. And then I think these last two will be, let's see, let's go with our tree green or sap green if you're using like a Winsor Newton. This can be called a sap green. In the Mylang palette, it's referred to as their tree green. So it's just this really beautiful, pretty, I think, typical what I think of when I think of green. And I'm sure you have your favorite greens too. And then with that, what I usually do is I will bring in some of the flower color with my green. And purple, let me show you. Purple and green are somewhat complementary colors, maybe a split complementary, meaning it's the complementary of violet would actually be yellow, but one step over to the right is a yellow, green, and green. So it's a split complementary. So I'm just gonna mix a little bit of that green with my purple, and let's just do it right here on our paper. That's always fun. So here's my green, and I'll use this color for shadows. So good little tip there. If you want to really bring this cohesiveness to your flowers, mix some of your flower color with your green. And be a little bit careful with that purple because it is quite intense. So I'm just barely dabbing in. See? I got a little bit too much there, so I'm going to add a little bit more green, but it's creating this really beautiful shadowy color. Because remember, opposites or AKA complementary colors, if they are mixed, they really mute each other out. And in your florals, your eye is going to be able to pick up, oh, there's some purple in that, and it just really brings this beautiful coherency to it. Okay, so for the brush strokes, I'm going to show you first with the filbert. So let's go into our purple, and let me put a little in my palette here. I love this cute little palette. This is a Meeden palette, and I like it when I'm painting because I can hold it in my hand here. So I've got some of that purple in here, about 50 water, 50 pigment. Doesn't matter how much you have in the well, just tap it off. Get some of that excess. So for some of those hyacinth, we could definitely, because let me show you the bud. This would be perfect for buds. See that shape? I don't know if that's too close to the camera, and I can't take it out because it's sealed into this beautiful little glass jar with the roots in the bottom. But these little dabs with the side of a filbert and a little bit of pressure really create these wonderful, and then I'm pulling it down a little bit as I get to the bottom. And I wish I could show you the stem, because the stem here inside is this beautiful color. It's purple and green. And I'm even noticing in looking at that bud, there's a little bit of a lighter green, which in the Mylang palette is the yellow green. at the very tip. So I'm going to add a little bit of that in, but you know, keeping this really simple. I just wanted to show you the strokes real quick, just like that. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And then I'll come down through the center with that beautiful purple green that I mixed. So I've got some purple in here and add a little bit more with that green. Let's get some more green in there. And I try and show you these tips, like mixing the flower color with the stems, because these are just simple little tips and techniques that as a beginner, they really are so easy, but can make a difference. And somebody's going to look at your painting and go, oh, they know what they're doing. So see that? And then of course, for those long, beautiful, flowy leaves, we're just going to use a point press type of technique. And we just went through these in a video I shared with dagger brushes, and we can do the same thing with this brush. So I'm going to keep it on its side using that beautiful razor edge and start out here. And those leaves really tend to hug the stem in the middle. So point, turning my brush a little to get some width, and then up on the tip. Look at that. Isn't that great? And maybe tapping in at the bottom with some of that purpley green. Point, press, widen out your stroke, and then turn it on its side. And just use the tip to kind of fill in. So that's what we're going to be doing. Oh, you know what? If you don't have my set or a filbert, make sure you get all that paint out. You can use your round brush too. So let me just show. It's very similar to what we already did here. Oops, I don't want the green. Let's go with the purple. Same type of brush stroke. Just these little dabs, point, press, point, press, point, press. And you can always use the tip of your brush to shape your different, whether it's leaves or it's, you know, whatever you're working on. So same type of thing you can do with either your round brush or your filbert brush. And then let's go in and add that middle stem. There we go. And actually the stalk of this hyacinth is just a little bit thicker. And we can add some of the green to the tips of these, because I notice in the tips of these little blooms, they had a bit of green. Okay, let's do that leaf now with our round brush. Point, opening up, pressing down on there. See the width? And then up on the tip, just like that. Point, press, open up my brush. And for bulbs, typically I try to bring the leaves kind of in and tucked in, because if you can see on this hyacinth, they kind of overlap each other. I'm making mine a little bit more blooming. But you can definitely, you know, make them really hugging the stem of your flower. So, and then after all that, what we're going to do is let's try out. So I've got these metallics here. Again, these are going to be in my subscription box. How exciting is that, you guys? I mean, I requested that. They had to find a supplier. I had to approve them. But I'm just so excited because I think I am one of their only subscription boxes that'll have metallics. Fingers crossed, guys. And okay, so let's go into that purple. And let's just see what that looks like over this. Sometimes this is a little bit difficult to pick up in the camera. That beautiful sparkle. Let's see if you can see that. It's very subtle, which I love. I love subtleness in the sparkle because it kind of makes the viewer go, wait, am I seeing sparkle there or am I not? And I will say this about the Phoenix compared to some others. The pigment isn't quite as opaque and dense, so it does flow a little bit better. Let's just see if So see here, I can pull it out, which is pretty cool because a lot of metallics, they just kind of, they have a denser pigment in them and they don't tend to flow like a watercolor, but these do really well. So I'm pretty happy with that. All right, let me grab this is a journal, 140 pound cold press. These are really fun. I have all kinds of fun things in these. Look at these. My little sweet peas, those are coming. Some of these, I love this little journal. And again, it's portable. And you know, I'm all about the portability, guys. I love throwing my supplies in a bag and I can take them on the go. All right, let's get painting. So we're gonna make this really simple. I'm gonna use my filbert. If you wanna use that round brush, I showed you how to do those brush strokes. You can definitely use that. Let's go into, I'm gonna put a tiny bit more paint in here. Woo-wee. Look at that purple, guys. I wanna lighten that a bit because you always wanna start light. We can always go in with darker. There we go. Let's see what we got. Use a little tester paper too. Okay, so that's a pretty light value. That's what I wanna go in with first. Okay, so I'm gonna go in here and I'm just doing those dabs. And I notice at the top, they're a little bit smaller, they're a little bit closer together. So that's how I'm gonna do that. And as they go down the stalk, they're getting not only fatter and thicker, but not so tightly pressed together. So there we go. Look at this, you guys. You can do this. Easy, easy, peasy, peasy, right? And then while that's wet, let me grab my round brush, and you can use either brush. I just want to show you both. I'm going to add in, let me get a little bit more of that tree green on my brush. Tap, tap, tap some of that off. See, look at all that. And go into just the tips because it looks like the tips of these has that green. I don't want to mix too much because green and purple are going to make a very muted color. So I'm just touching into the tips of them. Just a tiny bit there, like that. Now I'm going to go into the center with that purple and green I mixed because I'm noticing the stalk of this flower. Isn't nature amazing, by the way? It's just so beautiful how it combines colors together. And we've got this beautiful purpley green. Oh, it's so yummy. And then a little bit more pressure and coming down. Now I might go into that and just tap in like so. There we go. And then we're gonna bring all of those the leaves up. So I'm just touching in a bit to kind of offer some of that purple into the green. Now, once this dries, I'm gonna go in with a darker purple and kind of go over the top of these so it just doesn't look like this stick with things sticking out. And I'm gonna use my filbert now for those green, long, beautiful leaves. So point, opening my brush, coming up, and it almost, because mine is a bud, it's almost curling in. Point, press, and down. Look how fun that is. Now, once that dries, I'll go in and maybe create a darker few leaves here. There we go. I might tap into the bottom with some of that purpley green. There we go. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, it's pretty cold here, so I'm gonna just give this a little shot, just to get it dry. This is a heat gun, by the way. They're maybe $12 on Amazon. I'll look for my link for you. There we go. Just because it's so cold and wet here, sometimes paintings need a little bit of help to dry. So now I'm going to go in here with a deeper, darker value of purple, which means probably 80% pigment, 20% water. Now I can tell this has more water than pigment because look at how easy it moves in my palette. So I'm going to pick up a little bit more pigment, get a little bit thicker mixture, and then let's go in and create some of these buds in front here. Ooh, see, like that. Yeah, I like that. And that way it has a little bit more dimension and interest going in with that darker color. Look at that. Isn't that fun and pretty? Ooh, that is the power of values, you guys. That's all you have to do. Now what I'm going to do, I'm rinsing my brush off, and when I wipe it on my paper towel, I can tell if I have all of that paint out, because let me grab a paper towel here, and you want to do this especially when you're done painting. Make sure you have got all that paint out, because if any of that paint gets into the ferrule, your brush is most likely ruined. So just be real careful of that. And interestingly, with the leaves of this particular flower, the bottom is lighter than the tips. I did them reversed, but they're actually a little bit lighter. So right here, I'm going to go in and just add a couple more simple little leaves. I want to get a thicker mixture like I did with that purple. Maybe even a touch of that hooker's green, which is a ooh, look at that, which is a really beautiful color. There we go. Because I want to have it stand out a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to go in and create another little leaf right here. Point, press. Yeah, that's what I wanted. Look, so fun. Another one right here. And I'm just painting right over my flower. As long as I don't mix too much, it's not going to mix. We could even do the bulb here. I didn't think about that, but let's grab a brown with just a bit of purple in it. Let me see, I'll need another palette here. And then we're going to add those metallics and see what those do. So I've got some purple in my palette here, of course, because it's a color I use a lot. And I'm just going to, ooh, look at that. Isn't that a gorgeous earthy purple? And let's just create that bulb. So I'm using the side of my brush because I noticed the bulb has these kind of little pieces that go up, and press. This is the exact color of this bulb. It's so pretty. Now I don't want it just to be a flat brown, so I'm just going to tap in. Look at how fun this is, you guys. I hope you all try this. Look at how pretty. And I did notice it had a tiny bit of that bluish color in it. So let's put a little bit of that in there. Just a little, but look how pretty that is. And this just adds some interest to that. We could go into even more detail if you really wanted and add in some of the little roots and things, but I don't know if it's necessary. Let's add in a few here. Didn't plan on this. This is very spontaneous, guys. So it's got all these little roots. This almost makes it look like a botanical, doesn't it? Because botanicals typically have all that. Look how fun. I mean, that would be a beautiful card. Okay, so for the piece de la resistance, how do you like that? My friend Anne-Marie and Brigitte and all of you in France there. I hope I didn't butcher that too much. Let's add in some, let's play with, I think I want to use this gray silver on the leaves because that green is more of like a pistachio green. I don't want to put that in there. we can always try it, right? We're playing here, and this is what I encourage you to do. So this is they call it gray silver. Ooh. You know, I really have to tell you, because I've used so many metallics, this would have been a good root color too. I'm quite impressed with the Phoenix. They really do spread well. So I'm pretty happy with that. Don't know if you can see that. And then let's go into the green. Now you could end right here and look at how beautiful that is, right? I'm loving it. Let's see. Let's use on the leaves. I think I'm going to add, just playing here, guys. Hopefully this goes well. Some of that yellow, because I did notice that the base of these and some of the tips almost have a yellowish look to them. So let's go in and add some of that and see what happens. Point, press. And this is really what painting is all about for me. Like, test things out. Yeah, I love that. I'm gonna add a little bit more to the base. Oh gosh, you guys, I hope you try this. And this is gonna be just a glimpse into, oh my gosh, that is beautiful, you guys. What my subscription boxes are going to be like. By the way, this is the kind of fun stuff, but no need to worry. I'm going to keep my same presence right here on YouTube for you as well. And you know what? Actually, in my Patreon, there you can be a member, a free member, and you can kind of do a la carte and purchase some lessons that are like $1 each, you guys. So don't be afraid or intimidated to go into Patreon that it's going to cost you a lot of money. It's not that at all. It's about building community and really sharing one-on-one and giving you choices to work with me in a way that you're going to enjoy. So let's go into that purple, and I'm just going to, we'll do both. We could either use the purple and add it to some of these, just like that. And I'll hold this up so you can see. Or let's try some of that blue and see what we get with that, because I really like the bluish touch in here. There we go. Oh my gosh, you guys. This is really pretty. Now I have to try, the next thing I'm going to try is maybe, this is called Splendid Gold. Let's see what that might look like in the bulb here. This is really encouraging you guys to play too. Do what I'm doing. Like, I don't know what it's going to look like, but you know what? This is the best way to really discover. Ooh, so see that? Oh, goodness. That is really pretty. That is the gold. So I think I'm about done, but look at this variety of colors, you guys. How fun is that? Wow. All right, well, I will list my products down below. So glad I got to share this little Phoenix palette with you, the metallics, and I hope you'll give this a try too. I'm just gonna write on here. Let's see here. And you know, maybe I'll do a kit for this for you guys. Well, I don't have a pen here, but again, this was a hyacinth. And look at this, you guys. That is the hyacinth I bought. Look at there. I think we did pretty good. What do you think? That was really fun. All right. Well, I hope you give this a try. Please stop by my Patreon, even if you're a free member, or if you want to go to the 4th tier, which is only $50 a month. And you guys, you get a free private one-on-one, which I normally charge about $75 for. So lots of free stuff and kits and all kinds of oodles, I love that word, of free things to help you on your watercolor journey and really give you some inspiration. And I get to work with you in a lot closer space, which I love. Okay, everybody, happy painting. I will link a filbert and a round. Play with both of them. I'll also link my paints. I'll link this little journal, which is so fun. And I hope you give this a try. All right, I'll see you soon. Happy painting, everybody.